Welcome back, everybody. This is Amy Hackbarth with Platinum Sky Farm, and today we have Westi Haughey with us from Twin Pear Farms. Welcome.
Thank you.
And now you are located in Oregon, I think?
Interestingly, I actually only lost one sale due to the events of last year. We actually had huge wildfires here in Southern Oregon. 3,000 homes were lost in Talent and Phoenix. And thankfully, we've had to evacuate from our farm in the past due to wildfire. But this year, we were actually able to take evacuees. And it was amazing. The calls just started going off. And I know a lot of herds between where that fire started and our farm. And I was glad to be the helper that day to help out other herds. Years ago, when I lived in the city, had no farming experience, I went to a Thanksgiving dinner where there was a platter of homemade cheeses served. And my mind was blown that somebody could raise the animal, produce the milk, and then produce the cheese themselves. And this planted a seed in the back of my head that stuck around. And so when the economy fell apart back in 2008, we had a pair of human twins born at that same time. And we just decided that life was so unsure and we had to pursue our dreams now and not wait for some time in the future or when we were retired. So we moved to Oregon and got settled on our property, spent about 3 years working on it. And I knew enough to know I was afraid to buy goats from Craigslist. So from a family friend said, oh, well, you should talk to my friend Mary Beth Bullington at Elfin Acres. And I didn't, of course, know who she was. I didn't know that she had such a nice herd, but went up there and bought my first 4 Nigerians from her. My only ambition was to have a couple of good milkers and make cheese. Breeding wasn't a part of the fantasy. Selling goats was just part of it. I didn't keep any of my kids the first couple years. I did my first linear appraisal and realized that I had some pretty solid animals. Well, that just opened the door. Because does mature and their scores typically will get better as they come into themselves. I have does who do not no longer have the scores I believe they deserve because they've matured quite a lot in the last couple of years. So I'm with you. Let's hope for linear appraisal. We will have 11 births total on the farm this year. I had bred 18, decided that was over the top and I really didn't need to do that many kiddings. So I sold 7 milkers and I've already had 2 kiddings so far. Only 9 to go. That seems like nothing. We are on milk test and this will be our 4th year, going into our 4th year on milk test. I was owner sampler originally. I'm going to switch over this year. I have a doe, I think potentially at some point in her career could be top 10. So I don't want to lose my chance. Oh, yeah. And we do some small amount of showing. It was not why I got into goats. A friend of mine a few years ago said, hey, we're expert on Nigies in the show. Could you bring one? I said, okay, sure. And my little junior doe took first place. I still only stick to local regional shows, but I hope to participate in nationals when it's back here. So in Oregon, we can legally sell raw milk if we have 9 or less lactating does. Turned out I'm a failed cheesemaker. So my personal philosophy is that better educated goat owners take better care of their goats. And that is a win-win for the goats and for the humans. So I became a 4-H leader last year, which has been an amazing experience. I had no idea how wonderful these kids were going to be and how into it they are. And I also started a tutorial YouTube channel, which has both an advanced and beginning videos, one I call essentials. So these are simple topics like trimming feet. And then my other videos focus on things like how to tell when your doe is in labor and the first, second, and third stages of labor, doing your milk test day, the steps of doing that. And I do those surely because if one person has that question, 10, 20, 30 people have that question. And we all benefit from sharing that knowledge and answers. And it's great for me if someone has a question, the goats I just sold today, I said, hey, here's the link to the hoof trimming video for when you get home and it's time to trim their hooves. If anybody looks at our website, I guess we could talk about our herd queen, which is who we're probably best known for Sugar Moon v. Java Pepper. She changed our herd completely when she arrived. She's one of those really special does that completely changes you and your herd just forever. We now have several of her daughters and granddaughters, and I actually just bought a great granddaughter of hers, I believe. She has one of those udders and the attachments and the production that once you have them, it's almost impossible to go back. That's also a very high bar to meet. Well, this year I'm pretty excited about most of the breedings, well, all the breedings. And my plan this year is essentially to keep a doeling from just about every breeding, with the plans of freshening them all and then making cuts, depending on, how those attachments are, what that teeth placement is like. That's what I'm pretty picky about. So I intend to actually retain a lot this year. And Java is one where I'm hoping to get a buckling out of her this year that then I will actually use on her daughters and granddaughters in the future. I think I'm getting more and more into line breeding as time goes on. It's also when you work with a specific line long enough and have enough generations, you can see what works, what doesn't. You have more predictability. It's so much nicer. I know, for example, in Java's line, that her daughters take 3 freshenings. That is what they take to come into their prime. And so I'm not worried if I don't see a whole lot in the first and second. But I know that with time, and I know that through having the relatives. So I have moved more and more that way, but certainly I am introducing some bucks this year that are almost outcrosses. We built a buck pasture, a full, huge pasture 2 years ago, sure. And that was just dangerous. I could have anything. And I also have, I have several in my tank as well. We just brought in a buck that's kind of my dream buck, Heaven's Hollow Majesty. And what's nice is that they all are related in a really beautiful way that I feel like I wrote a script that I didn't know I wrote. The bucks that I have now are very complementary, but offer different things. So we'll see. A few of them are young, and we'll see how they, what their kids are. I feel like they're all lottery tickets when you buy a young buck or a young doe and don't know how they're going to turn out. I feel like Majesty was a missing piece. Fortunately, he got here after everyone was bred. So I did have his son on lease this year. And so I will be having some of his grandbabies here soon, actually very soon, in a couple of weeks. But I guess at this point, I'm feeling really optimistic that I'm heading in the right direction. I like what I have. I feel like I've gotten what I call the butts. I like them, but
sure.
And I'm really pleased with who I have, and I'm expecting some nice kids. So I do feel on balance at this point, and I don't feel like I have a big hole that I'm looking to fill or a big gap in like some issue that's not being corrected. Buy good goats to start with. They say buy the best you can afford, but really it's more buy from someone who has knowledge and is willing to help you. And also, stands behind their animals. If something were to happen to that animal was unbreedable, for example, that they would do the right thing and help you out. This is hard to say, but I think be willing to spend a little bit of money. It's funny to see somebody worry about maybe $100, $150 difference in a goat, but wow, that could make a huge difference in the animal that you're able to get. Don't listen to whatever your husband says. Just throw that out. Just do your own thing. Mine's very supportive.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. What is the best way for people to contact you if they have questions about your farm or want to put a reservation in or want to go to your YouTube page? If you want to share that, that's wonderful too.
Yep. So the fastest way to reach me is through our Facebook page, and our tutorial channel is called Twin Pear Tutorials on YouTube, and you can also find links to all the videos on our website. And I have a new one I'm working on right now that's in the editing suite about how to help your doe recover from a C-section. Hope you don't have a C-section this season, but be prepared if you do.
Oh, that's wonderful information. And we'll end on that note. Thank you so much. You have a great night, and I can't wait to get this video up to share with everyone.
Great, thanks so much.